Hello everyone. In this video, we'll be learning all about cells and the basics surrounding them. So, all living things are made of cells, and cells have miniature structures called organelles that help in the functioning of cells. So it's really important for us to know the different organelles that we can come across in two different types of cells. This is a generic animal cell. So I'm going to write GAC for generic animal cell, and plant cell, which I will call PC. So in the name, plant cells are found in plants, and generic animal cells are types of cells that are found amongst animals. These are the basic cells that we need to be aware of in biology. And the organelles are small structures that we find within cells that help with the functioning of a singular cell. So organelles are kind of a mixture of two words, organs and els. So I like to call them the small organs of cells. And so there are many different organelles that we need to know, and which we will talk through today. So the first structure that we have here is called the ribosome. And the ribosomes are depicted by these small black dots here in the generic animal cell and here in the plant cell. Even though they look very small, they are super important. And at the ribosomes, we have a process called protein synthesis that occurs. So the role of the ribosomes is to synthesize proteins that the cell can use. The next structure that we have is this kind of larger black circle that we have here in the generic animal cell and here in the plant cell. This structure is called the nucleus. And the nucleus, again, is really, really, really important. The nucleus is the structure where all our genetic information is contained. So all of the DNA and chromosomes, they are found within the nucleus. The nucleus also controls the cell. And so this is a very, very, very important organelle that we find in most cells. However, we will come to some specialized cells that do not have a nucleus. The next structure that we have is the cytoplasm. And now the cytoplasm isn't physically drawn on each of these cells. However, it is this white space that we have where nothing is drawn. What we need to remember, and what is quite often forgotten, is that the organelles are not suspended in air. Okay, they are found within a gel-like substance, which is given this name, the cytoplasm. And the cytoplasm houses all of the organelles, as well as provides a medium by which cellular reactions can take place. The next structure we have is the cell membrane. Now, the cell membrane is the outer structure that we have in our generic animal cell. So this structure here. However, in our plant cell, it is the inner thin black line that we have here. That is the cell membrane. Now, the cell membrane is a fluid structure, and the fact that it's able to allow substances in and out of the cell in the generic animal cell and the plant cell. And so it is incredibly important for allowing which substances can enter the cell and which substances can leave the cell. It also has a role in containing all of the organelles inside of the cell. So the reason why perhaps the nucleus doesn't leave the cell and isn't found outside of the cell is because it is contained by the cell membrane, which is super important. And now the last structure that we have that is shared between the generic animal cell and the plant cell is called the mitochondria. And the mitochondria are these structures that we find within the cells here. Mitochondria is plural. If you're referring to one of these structures, it is referred to as a mitochondrion. And the process that the mitochondria are responsible for is the process of cellular respiration. So the process of providing the cell with energy from the substances that the cell might intake. So these are the structures that are found in both a generic animal cell and in plant cells. However, as we can see, there are extra structures that are found in plant cells that are not found in animal cells. And these structures help the function of a plant and help the plant to survive. And so the first structure that we can find in a plant cell and not in a generic animal cell is a vacuole. And the vacuole is depicted by this empty sac here that we find in the middle of a plant cell. Now, the role of a vacuole is to provide a space where cell sap and other assimilates can be stored. So it's kind of like a storage unit for the plant cell. The next structure that we have is the chloroplast. And the chloroplast is a super important organelle in a plant cell, as it provides not only the plant and structures with its color, but also allows a plant to do something very, very special, something that animals can't do. And this is the process of photosynthesis. So the chloroplast contain the structure chlorophyll, the substance chlorophyll, which is a green pigment that allows the plant to capture light and convert it into sugars that can be used for respiration. So the chloroplasts are really, really important as it provides the plant with a method to create its own energy. And the last structure that we need to know about plant cells is the cell wall. Now, the cell wall is this outer, thicker structure that we see here. And the role of the cell wall is to provide support for this plant cell. So if you've ever wondered why plants are able to stay upright and grow upright, it's largely to do with the presence of a cell wall. As I said before, a cell membrane is much more fluid than a cell wall. A cell membrane stacked on top of one another wouldn't be able to stand as upright as perhaps the stalk of a plant would, or a cell wall. It won't be as rigid. And so therefore the cell wall is a super important organelle structure that we have in a plant cell for maintaining and supporting the plant cell. So this is a brief introduction to all of the organelles that we see in a generic animal cell and a plant cell. Hopefully this has clarified some of the roles that the organelles do. And we will come on to in another video across some specialized cells and how they perhaps differ from these cells that we've explained here. For more resources and services, please do visit www.s2sol.co.uk.